hate you both. I've hated you ever since I can remember. I hate you, and I wish you both had cancer. Cancer? Yes, in the head.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain!
Are you telling me you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
This is the Stupid Cancer Show.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Hello there, children!
Hey, kids.
People seem to like me because I am polite and I'm rarely late.
Don't worry, I got an idea.
And now, the host of the Stupid Cancer Show, Matthew Zach.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Because he has a lot of chutzpah.
All right.
Hello and welcome to episode 365 of the Stupid Cancer Show, the voice of young adult cancer. I'm your host, Matthew Zachary, a proud 19, soon-to-be 20-year young adult brain cancer survivor, coming to you from the Chemo Deck, our fabulous studio in downtown Manhattan. Broadcasting since 2007, the Stupid Cancer Show is a production of Stupid Cancer, the largest charity comprehensively addressing young adult cancer, online at stupidcancer.org.
I'm Kenny Kane, co-founder of Stupid Cancer, welcoming all of our first-time and returning listeners. Never miss an episode by subscribing to the podcast on iTunes and following us on SoundCloud.
It is not okay that 72,000 young adults are diagnosed with cancer each and every year. So, got cancer under 40 sucks, huh? Time to get busy living, folks, because the Stupid Cancer Show is changing the world one chemo infusion at a time. We got a good show for you. Highly evolved human, Nick Ross, going to be featured on the show. Hodgkin's lymphoma survivor, Nick Ross, took notes on his surreal, bizarre experience of becoming a young adult with cancer. His experiences led him to create the highly evolved human theatrical web series on SoulPancake. We're going to find out how he came up with that name. Nick joins us to talk about how cancer is represented in the media. I had the privilege of meeting him at the Teenage Cancer Trust meeting, and he is a CancerCon alum. Survivor Spotlight on breast cancer survivor Aerial Donovan. Going to be a great show. Hello. Full house. Sean, Noel, Kenny, Mallory, Janine.
Hi.
Hello. All of you at once. Shout out.
Hey. It's a chorus.
Let's go Royals. No, let's not go Royals. Kenny, you had the greatest Facebook post of all time.
The guy with the butt crack?
Yeah, the guy with the butt crack. Drowning his sorrows with the TV on.
Last night was very bizarre. I was at my new end of the block bar in Brooklyn, and there were people who were clearly on multiple substances at the bar. And that gentleman in particular had maybe taken one too many shots, and he was essentially sleeping at the bar, crying his sorrows
once the
away.
12th inning started, you knew it was all...
I didn't even stick around for it.
Yeah.
I mean, happy to say that we got there, but
yeah.
Wasn't really expecting a
I
win.
just love all the Mets people that are like, well, it got this far.
Right.
Let's be happy we got this far.
I mean, every 15 years we do something.
Yeah, every 15 years, pretty much. Exactly.
I look forward to being 43. And
yeah, joined again.
Yeah.
Mal, what's going on? How you been?
Oh, all over the place a little.
Wait,
Fun
so
times.
in the saga of people who I work for me that have moved, you're done.
I'm done.
Sean's done. Noel, you just moved.
I just moved this weekend, yeah.
Okay. We're all done moving.
At least for a short while.
Until the next hire.
I think there's some year-long leases happening.
Yeah, I hear it. Well, this weekend was eventful. It wasn't only the World Series, but it was the New York City Marathon. We had some great team members, right, Sean?
Yeah, we had a great team of 7 runners representing Team Stupid Cancer.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Who won?
The marathon?
A Kenyan.
A Kenyan.
Wait.
Not any of our folks.
Let me check my Captain Obvious meter there. They always win. They're very fast. No?
That's racist.
No, it's not racist. They're very fast. They consistently win. They're very, very fast.
I'm not trying to promote another podcast, but there is a podcast called Radio Lab that did an entire episode dedicated to why.
I love Radio Lab.
Yeah, and they talk about one episode specifically about how they're so well engineered and trained to win marathons.
No, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I love Radio Lab. Anyway, what else is going on, Kenny? How you been?
Good. I don't know. A lot going on and nothing going on at the same time.
Well, OMG West is barreling down to this in less than a month.
It is 20 days away, maybe 19 days away. 19
Irvine?
days away.
I think I'm speaking.
You said you're coming out now.
Yeah.
Good for you. The whole gang's back together. Let's make sure we're not all on the same plane.
We're not.
Okay,
It's
good.
been handled.
I would make sure of that.
The days of us sitting next to a plane or sitting on a plane next to each other.
Yeah, are numbered. Good. And CancerCon is, again, barreling towards us rapidly. And exhibitor registration is live if you work for a nonprofit or know someone who does that would like to have a very positive experience meeting your community. We would encourage you to become a nonprofit exhibitor at CancerCon. And I think the big news that I'm most excited about, I talked to you briefly about this, but we haven't had our complete debrief, was the CancerCon steering committee went off on an excursion in Colorado.
We did. We had a weekend-long retreat in the mountains in Colorado. It was a good time. All of our volunteers, we have a committee of 8, and Allie, myself, and Thea all went up to the mountains and locked ourselves in a house for 48 hours and got some stuff done.
Very impressive. Worth it, I hope.
Absolutely worth it. We have a really awesome committee who have some pretty cool people who are very excited to make CancerCon as awesome as possible.
Very nice. Very nice. And speaking of which, Sean, you want to say the VIP Club?
Yes, the VIP Club is an incredible opportunity to help make CancerCon awesome. So everything is underway, and it's a great way to earn travel funds, have your registration covered, and all that good stuff. So.
And how can someone sign up for VIP Club?
Visit cancercon.org, and you will see both buttons to get involved as well as earn travel funds, or just scroll down and you'll see everything you need to know about how to sign up.
And last question before we hit the show, what everyone go as for Halloween?
I was a lumberjack.
Okay.
Rock the beard.
No?
I worked at a moving company.
You were, okay, that was your costume? Moving?
Pretty much.
You were a mover?
I didn't dress up, but Jessie, however, my dog.
I saw the photo in the bag.
She was a seal.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So she was a seal for Halloween. So I pushed it over to her.
And Kenny, hipster?
I was a disenfranchised Met fan.
And Janine?
I was the Hamburglar.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's like a totally 70s character, right?
My boyfriend was the burger.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were the Hamburglar and he was the burger?
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. I went as a bald Binghamton student. I just threw my Binghamton hoodie and I was still bald. So that was my flashback. Kobe was a ghost and Hannah was Sophia the First. So
fun stuff.
And apparently next year he wants to be a Shopkins.
What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, well, you have a year to figure it out.
Shopkins is this new brand of micro kitchen appliance plastic dolls. It's very strange. Anyone listening nodding their head knows either know what Shopkins are or you don't.
I think I've heard of it.
What do kids do these days?
They
now?
play with they're playing with these tiny little plastic. There's like one of them's like a microwave, one of them's a fridge, one of them's a blender, one of them is like a pea pod, one of them's a teacup. It's really weird. They put faces on like household objects. One of them.
So basically, it's like the action figure version of the Brave Little Toaster.
Yeah. There's like a Windex bottle with eyeballs. It's and they're tiny and they come in little shopping bags. It's very strange. Whatever floats their boat. On that note, let's kick off the show. In our spotlight, Aerial Donovan, breast cancer survivor currently living in Chicago, diagnosed in 2012 at the age of 26 while in med school and just 2 days before getting married. Huzzah! She has been in remission since March of 2015 and is a veteran of CancerCon. Please welcome to the show, Aerial Donovan. Hello!
Hi.
You gotta love the young adult stories. Diagnosed while pregnant, diagnosed after the day you got engaged, diagnosed 2 days before getting married. it's like this is what makes us different. And congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I'm getting married, that is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we typically like to ask the question, what were you doing 6 months before your diagnosis, just to put the framework that you were probably just living your life being 26.
Yeah, I had just finished medical school and was planning this wedding with my fiance, and I have started getting pain in my armpit, and I like to procrastinate and put things off as late as possible, and he started insisting that I get it checked out.
So he was really the nudge that made it work, made it happen.
Definitely. Well, I knew I had the lump back in 2010. I was in medical school, and I got it biopsied right away. It did not turn out to be cancerous at the time, and my doctor had told me to do follow-ups and get, don't sweep this under the rug, which is exactly what I did. I was like, no, my career is so important, and no one my age gets cancer, and it doesn't run in my family, and I didn't have any of the genetic tests come back that I had it in my family. So I thought I was good to go.
So what would possess you to get a screening 2 days before your wedding?
It just kind of worked out that way. Let's see, I got married in October, so in about June, my armpit started really bothering me, and I wasn't living in Colorado, and my fiance was living in Houston, and we were going to move to Chicago right after our wedding for his job, and I was kind of in the middle of trying to figure out which doctors I wanted to start seeing, and by the time I got an appointment and the biopsy scheduled, and it just kind of worked out that way that I didn't get that news until that week.
And you still powered through the wedding?
Barely.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 26 and he's 27, and there's no way neither one of us would want to go through with this. I was ready to run. But my husband Gage, he was like, we can do this together, and I love you, and life's one big adventure, and we'll hit the ground running fighting cancer.
So I noticed here your dad is also a cancer survivor, or is he still in treatment, or what's going on with him?
He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2008, I want to say, and was in remission. And then it's been about a year now, he found out he had MDS. He's got 2 mutated chromosomes, and he's in the middle of trying to figure out which treatment plan he wants to go to, but it looks like he might have AML now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So, yes, life is truly a journey. So your husband, I'm reading, is a flight attendant. Is he often away?
It was really bad when we first moved to Chicago, which sucked for me because being in medical school, I'm super indecisive about doctors and their backgrounds, and I want the best care. And so I was going back and forth between which hospital I wanted to get treated at, which made my schedule super inconvenient for him. And so in the beginning, when we first moved to Chicago, it was pretty bad. He was gone a lot, but luckily now we've been here for a few years, and he gains seniority as the longer he's with the company. So it's been a lot better.
And can you share what it's been like for him as a caregiver?
I think me being in medical school was probably the worst because I would go to these appointments and they'd lay out treatment plans, and I'm like, well, the studies on this show, infertility is this high from this treatment, and I had all this knowledge from these medications and chemotherapy that they wanted to put me on, and I was the numbers person, and he would get so frustrated with me because, I needed to be a patient and not a doctor when thinking about myself, and I would always second guess every single decision that they put in front of me. So I think he was really frustrated. But I also think that he's just scared, like any significant other would be. And luckily, things turned out in my favor. But gosh, I don't know. It was a crazy first couple years of marriage.
What? Where were you treated, and what were you staged at initially?
I started out at Northwestern, and stage 3B, and I ended up moving over to Swedish Covenant, which ended up being much closer to where I live in the city. Chicago has, like New York, terrible traffic and parking, and
right.
My mental sanity was going crazy having to commute downtown all the time. So we decided to go with a hospital that's much closer.
So in the spirit of everything you've come to learn, we're going to talk about your experience at CancerCon, talk about jumping into the deep end of the pool for your first foray. What types of reproductive or fertility preservation were you presented with at all?
None. When they found out how long I had kind of let this go on, it was, we need to get treated immediately. And these are your best. I got to choose which type of chemotherapy I wanted to do, which I went most aggressive first with the adriamycin, the Red Devil chemotherapy.
Right.
Which is really crap for fertility. And by the time I realized that this was going to be a much longer journey than I expected, because I was on treatment for 3 years, that it was kind of too late for me. The odds that I would have healthy eggs is kind of surpassed. So I feel like the hospitals that I went to, maybe because I feel like the clinics I was at were mainly targeted for older women.
Right.
And I feel like I was kind of in that small percentage where they don't see that a lot, which is so frustrating because fertility wasn't number one on their platform for treating me.
Right. That is one of the major, and again, you know this because you're drinking our Kool-Aid, but that is clearly one of the most necessary messages and wrongs we have to right, is that you have that civil liberty to be told that anything related to your cancer treatment could jeopardize your reproductive health, and what are the rights that you're entitled to cryopreservation or embryo banking and whatnot. It's a shame that it is still happening, and especially, I mean, Northwestern has probably the most credible oncofertility infrastructure for young adults in the country. So I'm curious to know, and actually I will be in Chicago Wednesday for the Oncofertility Consortium conference.
Which is at Northwestern.
Which
right?
is at Northwestern, yes, exactly. I'll say hi for you. But yeah.
To be honest, their treatment plan did not suit my medical school OCD. So back and forth between the different doctors and trying to figure out which clinics. I didn't stick around at Northwestern too long.
Right.
So
across these 3 years, between your diagnosis in 2012 and then jumping in the pool in Denver this spring, were you at all made aware of community or resources specific to not being 80?
My dad had heard about First Ascents on NPR, which, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure you guys talk about them, but they do those awesome trips for cancer survivors that are young adults, where you learn how to kayak and surf. And I actually haven't been on a trip yet, but he told me to check it out, and I did. They had a really cool rock climbing day here in Chicago, where it was an indoor rock climbing outing, and I went. I was really scared, and I loved it. I loved talking to other survivors and learning that it sucks no matter what age you are, what type of cancer you have. Cancer sucks. And I went home and I was trying to do more research on First Ascents, and stupid cancer started. You got to love Facebook and their algorithms for advertising and what have you. But stupid cancer showed up on my Facebook feed, And I was like, well, first a sense that outing went pretty well. I should check out what this is. So
yeah, we do.
history.
We do a lot of good partnership work with FD. I mean, we obviously do very different things, but we do very different things that are in tremendous complement to one another. And I don't know if you met Daryl, Brad Ludden, the former board chair and president, but Ryan O'Donohue and I go back many, many years. FD does extraordinary work. They change lives, and it's a wonderful thing. So you found out about Stupid Cancer through a Facebook ad. Kudos to Kenny Kane for building up our ad structure.
Yay.
Yeah, you. And you decided that that's a big leap to head over to Denver. Did you come with your husband?
I did. Actually, I saw that there was a Stupid Cancer meetup nearby in Milwaukee, where I met Vanessa Hood, your awesome lady there who raised, was it like $11,000? How much did she raise last year for CancerCon?
Yeah, a lot, yes.
And she was like, dude, you got to go to CancerCon. I'm going. I'm raising money. And I met her at that meetup, and I was like, okay, cool. And that was 2 cancer meetups than I had after going through cancer with no meetups. And my family happens to live in Colorado, so I figured if it was a bust, I could just go visit them. And I didn't see them that entire weekend.
Right.
It was just life-changing.
And you were on one of our panels, right?
For the New York
right,
summit.
here. Yeah, because I just saw you. So
Yes.
yeah. So you are completely our walking billboard.
I am. I don't know what else to say, but verbal diarrhea, Stupid Cancer.
So I guess I don't think we've had a med student, young adult survivor on the show in a while or at all, if I can recall. That's a very unique place to be, and you were very astute in pointing out that it probably put you in a very unique position to have discussions with the doctors. Is that still the case in all of your follow-ups?
I backed off a lot as requested by my husband, because I was not making any friends. But I feel like I still love doing the research, and I like to see the graphs and stuff behind the medication, anything they want to put me on. But I feel like I've been out of the game for 3 years now, that it's not as OCD as it used to be. So that's helped a lot. But I feel like I'll always, to some extent, have that medical background where I'll want to double check everyone.
So where are you now in your career? I mean, we're hoping things are settling down. It's been several years now. Are you going to go back to med school?
Unfortunately, I am outside the window of my license exam. So I would have to start over for my what's called the United States Medical License Exam. And it's a very, very long test that spans over several years. So I don't think so. I graduated, and I'm happy that I have that piece of paper, but I feel like life has put me in a different direction, and as long as you guys will have me, I'll be spitting out Stupid Cancer. And I don't know. I haven't been in remission that long, just since March.
Right.
So I'm still coming off that chemotherapy grossness that is, treatment. But who knows? You never know what life's going to throw at you.
So you're coming across and self-admittedly a very type A person in terms of your methodical nature. Did that help or hurt you? And is that something that you would encourage people to have in their own treatments? What would you say to other people who've gone through this?
I think it's okay. When I started getting really, really obsessive about doing the research on some of this chemotherapy, I started learning about other forms of chemotherapy that weren't so hard on my fertility. And had I not been so adamant about constantly reading, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, because I honestly think that the internet, when you're sick, can really be your worst enemy.
Yep.
You will find things out there that will just scare you, and so you don't want to doctor yourself via WebMD, but I was really, really glad that I had kept up on what they were trying to treat me with, and trying to look at new studies that had shown what the outcome was going to be for people and in infertility on these drugs they were giving me. So I think it's good to be on top of things like that. But I would just say don't go too crazy. You just have to take everything with a grain of salt.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being so brave as to come on the air. I mean, coming to a conference is one thing, but coming on the air is another thing, and you're a rock star. I'm sorry you had to join the club that no one wants to belong to, but once you're here, you are truly our family, and a real amazing story. So,
thanks for having me.
no, thank you. Aerial Donovan, one of our rock stars. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, bye. All right, and now the news.
Hello, I'm Kent Brockman, and this is Eye on Cancer.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Head on over to events.stupidcancer.org. That is events.stupidcancer.org. Sign up for meetup alerts and never miss an event again. If you'd like to learn more about hosting your own cancer meetup, stupid cancer meetup that is, visit stupidcancer.org/meetup. All right, this is why I'm a little off base. We have a long list. Bloomington, Broomfield, Denver, Phoenix, Anaheim, San Diego, and OMG West, of course, in UC Irvine. And finally, Redwood City.
Wow, it's a lot.
Yes.
Very nice. No one should face cancer alone because isolation sucks. Download Instapeer for iPhone, iPad, and Android, create an account, and instantly start chatting with somebody just like you who's been there and walked in your shoes. Join our community of thousands of cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers right now on your mobile device, instapeer.org.
We launched a newsfeed aggregator on Tumblr for all the articles, blogs, and stories we couldn't possibly have the time to post on social media. Check out We're Reading 24/7 and don't miss a beat. Subscribe at stupidcancer.org/feed.
Cancer's expensive. Check out cancermademebroke.com. That's cancermademebroke.com. Our national partnership with Give Forward, the #1 platform to start a medical fundraiser. You didn't ask to get sick, and your community wants to help you. Visit cancermademebroke.com to learn more and start your medical fundraiser today.
Support our programs and services by heading over to stupidcancerstore.org. You'll feel great and look great in your new Stupid Cancer gear. That's stupidcancerstore.org. Be proud, wear Stupid Cancer, and that is your Stupid Cancer News.
Nick Ross, actor, producer whose cancer diagnosis at age 26 didn't just change his life, it turned his life into his art. Please welcome to the Stupid Cancer Show, the one and only Nick Ross. Hello, sir.
Hello.
You know, I realized something. You came to CancerCon this year, and I didn't see you. I just saw photos of you in the aftermath. Like, Nick was there? How did I not see you?
Was I? I don't think I was there. I think I was in Colorado that weekend, but I don't know that I was there, so I might have been in the background of some bar or something.
No, I saw pictures of you. I'm fairly sure
Really?
I saw pictures of you. Unless you came to OMG East.
Might be a doppelganger with really great cheekbones.
No, all right. I'm on a challenge here on the air.
This is
challenge.
Chemo Brain versus Chemo Brain.
I'm gonna find a photo of you at CancerCon, and you're gonna tell me that you have a doppelganger at our conference.
Who's
I swear.
on first?
Exactly. All right, that is my challenge to you on the air, to find the guy that looks just like you who came to CancerCon. All right. With that said, I do remember I did see you in New York. Right? You came here several times.
Yeah, I've visited the office a couple times. It's always such a treat to talk to you guys.
Yes, awesome. Well, anyway, raised in Denver, you graduated your BA from the University of Colorado, so you are of the ilk of our event and our conference. You know why we love the state and the city. You studied at the world-renowned Globe Theatre in London. I saw you in London, didn't I, once, maybe? Is that it too?
No, I studied there in college. I just did like a study abroad program that was Shakespeare focused at the Globe. It was pretty great.
All right. Well, I'm just going to wrap up this whole show right now and say good night, folks. In any case, I'm really thrilled to have you on the air. Let's talk about your life prior to being 26 years old. Had you always wanted to be an actor-producer?
Yeah, well, I sort of bounced around colleges. I went to a bunch of different universities not knowing really who I was. And then when I graduated in 2003, I moved to New York with a good buddy of mine, and I got connected with the UCB Theater, the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater, and I found a lot of success there, and it really sort of gave me, it sort of put comedy in my focus, and I really wanted to start making comedy, and I didn't know quite how to do that, so I started doing some theater, and then I started making some web videos, and now I do kind of a hybrid of both of those.
So what was life like for you a couple of weeks before your diagnosis? What were your symptoms?
It was fall in New York when I was getting diagnosed, and I thought that the weather change was just kind of stressing me out, and maybe I was like getting sick, and I had some swollen lymph nodes under my armpits, and I started having night sweats, and I had never had them before, but I also just went through a breakup, so I thought maybe I was like having some sort of weird physiological relationship fallout. But it took a little while before I ended up going. I went to, I think St. Vincent's is closed out there now, right?
Right.
Yeah, I went to St. Vincent's, just the free clinic, because I didn't have any insurance or anything, so I sat there and waited my number.
So that just sounds so inelegant and I don't know, like inhuman.
Yeah, I mean it's been I couldn't put into words how unexpected all of that was in life, and that's why I think I try to, after everything, just to try to sort of make sense of it all.
Well, I mean, you did something that I find so endemic of our generation, which is you turn to humor and you leverage your art to tell your story. Yeah. Was that difficult to do, or was it seem to be like a really easy pivot?
I think, well, the original show that I did a show called Highly Evolved Human at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater after I had gotten back from a year of treatment in Denver, Colorado. And I think I did it to sort of, A, for therapy, but also B, to sort of reacclimate into life in New York and to sort of let everybody know that I wasn't gone for a year just, on sabbatical. I was like going through something pretty significant in my life. And so it was a pretty cool theater show. And then making them into little films was something that I did out here a few years later after, I think I did it kind of to honor my father and to maybe give these stories a little bit more of a platform.
Right.
I still thought that they were pretty awesome stories in my life.
I remember watching one of your webisodes, and you're on a bus. Can you tell us about that skit?
Yeah, that was actually the start of it all, I would say. I was going through treatment in Denver, Colorado for Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I had lost all my hair. And I was sitting on a bus in downtown Denver, and I noticed this guy sitting next to me just staring at me. And I was kind of used to being the bald guy at this point, so I didn't think to engage him, but he engaged me, and he looked at me and he asked me, he was like, "Did you shave your head because you were going bald?" And I thought that it was such a bold and invasive question. I thought that it was maybe like, like asking a lady if she's pregnant or something. It's just like, even if you suspect it, maybe it's not very polite to ask, but he didn't seem threatening or anything, so I just told him that I was going through chemotherapy, and this shocked him, and he didn't know what to say, so he took a minute, and then he just looked at me, and he was like, "I'm an AA man," and I think he just wanted to relate with something that he was going through.
Exactly. So tell us about presenting your series to SoulPancake. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it was cool. Well, I made, in summer of 2014, I made 3 of my stories from the theater show into little short films. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with them. I think that's when you and I first met, actually, because a mutual friend of ours was like, "You should see this guy Nick's videos that he just made." And then I think we connected in New York. But basically, I made these short films, and then I was screening them around town in L.A., And someone came up to me at one of the events and was like, "You should be on SoulPancake." And I looked up Rainn Wilson, who's the sort of figurehead of SoulPancake, and I found that he was with an agent at WME that I knew personally, and so I wrote that agent, and he connected us, and SoulPancake licensed the series, and then we were able to produce more. So now there's 11 episodes of the series on SoulPancake, which is such a great audience for the show because it's sort of life-affirming, like big question kind of stuff, and it's all really positive. So it really was a natural fit.
So tell us how you come up with the content for this. I would imagine most of it's just derived from life experience, but does it get augmented through the lens of your cancer, or is there a point where it just becomes, hey, you're just Nick and doing great stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's document. I mean, it's like this weird hybrid of autobiography, but also short story narrative. So some of the stories have, they're all autobiographical in like their base, and then some of them are a little bit more theatrical. Like some of them, I know there was one that was all about sort of what I would like the future to be and how like it would be great if no one had cancer. But then this alternative theory that if everyone had cancer, then everybody would be so much easier with the subject. So I sort of fictionalized both those scenarios comedically, and I don't know. It's a cool series to make. I hope to make more and more. I feel like it has a little small but growing following, and I just hope to continue to be part of this conversation.
Well, I mean, we can't mention SoulPancake and not mention Kid President. That was a big deal right there. Really big deal.
I know. Kid President, he's the best. He's about to be adolescent president, too.
Prepubescent president. Let's make that a hashtag.
Yeah.
So where are you these days now? How many years out are you? And are you still getting checkups? Are you still having scanxiety? How is life for you?
In relationship to cancer, where am I?
Yes.
I have been in remission, I guess. I don't know if that's what I call it still, but for 8 years. It was 2008 when I went through all my treatment. And I got scans for the following few years after that. And then lately I haven't. I mean, the last 3 or 4 years, I probably haven't even been to the doctor. I kind of trust my body, and I've been living a pretty healthful life.
We tend to ask the question, we get a lot of this, believe it or not, young adults who are artists, musicians, actors, thespians, musicians of all different ilks, and how they leverage their creativity often truly makes all the difference. Instead of crying in the corner, you make light of it in general, but if you happen to be able to stand atop some talent and create content around what that looks like, it changes the way that the people perceive what you're going through. But my question is, on the flip side, do people just presume that you're well and you're fine? Did you go through that for a couple of years?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I tend to think of it like creativity in my understanding usually comes from the adversities and the challenges that we face. And so to have such an acute and intense like period of adversity in your life, which cancer often is, I think it's like inevitable that it's going to become the basis for so much of your creative experience and where you draw from to sort of reach into the depths of your own humanity.
That was deep, by the way. That was about the deepest thing we've ever said on the show.
Yeah, let's give me like a bell or something.
I'll give you this. How's that?
Yeah. Was that a Homer go?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for our generation.
So, I guess another question is: so you're living and breathing on Squarespace, and is it YouTube? Where is the content housed largely?
Yeah, it's all on SoulPancake YouTube channel, which is one of the original partner YouTube channels. They have a lot of subscribers, and you can find it just by, I'm sure, searching Highly Evolved Human series. But this is a cool series because this is their first kind of narrative series that they ever subsidized, like sponsored on a channel. So they didn't really have any creative involvement. They just sort of trusted us to create good content, and it was a really great partnership.
No, we're enamored with Squarespace. Kenny has pretty much built our entire infrastructure on it, and he just went to visit their offices, and he's going to be interviewing with them about content. They do some really great work. I'm really inspired by the fact that they're taking that kind of direction for visibility. You are going to... Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's really cool what they're doing. I think they really seek out innovative and, like aesthetically driven people, and I feel like it was a really big honor to... Because I'm pretty particular about the look of the series. I want it to look very cinematic, and like there's a lot of thought put into the aesthetic of the show, because I think it really helps present the idea if you present it in the prettiest way.
So we are we are talking about oftentimes how your personal brand is affected by cancer, which you had prior to being diagnosed. Did you learn anything through that process about how you carve that into your narrative and how it might affect you positively or negatively?
Personal brand, trying to put my head around this idea, like how the public relates to you, kind of who I am.
Yeah, like did you get pity? Did you get more followers? Did it tie into any other thing that you couldn't have possibly anticipated? And does having had it and being public about it inhibit or jeopardize opportunities down the road for you in this career path?
Right. Yeah, I did an episode about this, about the identity of the cancer survivor, and how I always find it kind of funny how it comes up all the time. Like I just find myself as sort of like a public figure in the young adult cancer world. It's inevitable that it comes up because it's important and it's something that I care about a lot. I don't think I would ever be like it's inhibiting my progress as an artist or as a creator, because I think if anything, I would always advocate for telling your personal story and sharing with the world what you've been through, because I think in any context, it's you're going to find people that relate to you and find people that bring, or that maybe are scared to reveal something about themselves that ultimately will get empowered by your story. I think that storytelling is a wonderfully empowering trait.
No, and I feel like we've come full circle on that. It used to be blogs, and then those went away, and then it was all like social, and now we're back to storytelling, but through social. And I'm really fascinated to see it come full circle, that the humanity of all these things is really becoming more important than the superficiality of just telling people you're taking a dump on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, are you on Twitter, and do you use Twitter at all?
I have an identity, I think, on Twitter and Instagram, but I'm so poor at going on. I think it gained popularity after I was sort of frustrated with social media, and I haven't quite bought into it yet. I enjoy it, but I'm not that active on it. I feel like it's something that you got to be really active on to gain any sort of following or any sort of presence.
Got it. So you're not like a social junkie. It mainly just lives on your platform. Let me ask you this. Where did highly evolved human first come from? I mean, I could probably make my my assumptions, but it just sounds so snarky awesome.
Yeah, like the title of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually, I was video chatting while I was in treatment. I was video chatting with a comedian friend of mine in New York, and he was looking at me with, with no eyebrows and no hair. And he was like, "Wow, Nick, you really look like some sort of highly evolved version of a human being. Like someone who's like evolved past the need for, to have any body hair." And it sort of struck me. I thought it was really funny, but I also kind of like the snarky, memorable quality of it, because I do think that the nature of adaptation was very big. Like that was a big theme in all of my stories. How
right.
I don't know that culturally we've adapted to how big cancer is in like the human race, and I feel like for it to still be so scary and so like shocking, maybe we need to evolve a little bit. We need to adapt to it a little bit more.
You have a wonderful sentence on your website, highlyevolvedhuman.com. Every young person who has had a cancer experience carries with them a unique and remarkable story. We've all endured life-changing adversity and become beacons of hope to others touched with this disease. not everyone comes to the table a highly evolved human. What is your advice or recommendation to people about telling their story, about journaling, about keeping track of what happens? And if you're not inherently an actor who went to, Upright Citizens Brigade per se, how can people harness the power of their own story in an effective way, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know. I think this is very important. I think this is one of those things that all of the social world that so many young people are so connected to, it's why it's so empowering, because I do think that in any context, like be it a private journal or a public blog or a public, Twitter, Tumblr, any way to sort of storytell, there's so many applications now that can sort of fit the best, that can give you the best fit for your own personal form of storytelling. Like I tell short videos because I've, made a living for a number of years making sort of internet content. So I kind of have an awareness of internet content. But I think that, I don't know, it's so freeing to sort of share your dark stories, because I do think that those are the stories. Like when I just read some quote on writing an autobiography and how important it is to tell the deepest, darkest secrets of your life, just because those are probably the most interesting. Like so much of our shame in our life comes from the things that we think we shouldn't tell people, when like so much of our peace in life is sort of found through sharing those things with other people. Because it's hard to be a human, right?
Yogi Berra, rest his soul, is on the record saying, if life were easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
I know you want to give a shout out to your cast and crew. They're the heart and soul behind everything you do. Why don't you do that?
Yeah. Big shout out to Nate Smith, who directed both the theater version of the show and all of the internet shorts so far, and he has just been incredible. And the DP, who is there's been 3 directors of photography: George Nine-Ice, who's incredibly talented, Ed Lucas, and Kyle Fallon, and they all just brought such remarkable talents to the show. And then Alex Ruger, who's an awesome composer, who did all the composing for the last 8 episodes, which I love. I guess that's it. There's so many people that have worked on the show that I feel bad not mentioning everyone, but I feel like beholden to those individuals.
No, and again, coming from that world, in a sense, I did theater for a couple of years in undergraduate. I know how hard it is for the whole team to come together, and the idea of forgetting somebody is torturous, but they do deserve recognition because you're part of a family and you're doing amazing work.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, and I thank you. I look forward to seeing you again at some point, and I wish you good luck with everything. Anything you'd like to plug besides, obviously, the series, highlyevolvedhuman.com, and is it youtube.com/SoulPancake, or what's that URL for the videos?
Yeah, they're all on SoulPancake's YouTube channel, which is easy to find. I think it's probably youtube.com/SoulPancake, because they're a pretty big channel. But yeah, they're check it out. There's all the stories of sort of my diagnosis and my reflections on my cancer identity, and that's all great. I feel like,
Well, happy 8-year cancerversary. Keep up the incredible work. Nick P. Ross, actor, producer, cancer diagnosis at age 26, changed his life into art. He blogs, he writes amazing series on highlyevolvedhuman.com and on YouTube on the SoulPancake channel. Nick, thank you so much again.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much for including me.
Okay, bye.
Have a great one.
All right, Kenny, the time has come for our closing sequence.
Prepare to activate.
I hear there's rumors on the internets.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
And so, to all of you, a fond farewell.
Hooray, I'm helping.
You are a meathead. Oh, Magoo, you've done it again.
That was so terrible, I think you gave me cancer.
Okay, folks, that's our show. The 365th episode of The Stupid Cancer Show. Never miss an episode by subscribing to the podcast on iTunes and following us on SoundCloud.
I'd like to thank our guests, Aerial Donovan and Nick Ross, for joining us. Broadcasting since 2007, The Stupid Cancer Show is a production of Stupid Cancer, the largest charity comprehensively addressing young adult cancer, online at stupidcancer.org. Coming to you from the chemo deck on behalf of my team here at The Stupid Cancer Show, we hope you had as much fun as we did poking the stick at Stupid Cancer. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you back here on the next exciting podcast of The Stupid Cancer Show. Goodbye, everyone.
Cancer